StockTip. Best stock setups.
Hi and welcome to our very first daily update video with me, Marcel Todia. So, we are going to start with a state of the markets. The main index in which I trade is the S&P 500, but I trade it as an ETF or more exactly as an CFD. Doesn't matter. So the SPY is still looking pretty good. We are above our last support, still above it. The last um, diff is still holding, and if you are going to break out of this range about 480, then it's possible that we get another green light in the market. On the negative side, we see a discrepancy in the markets because the tech sector through the Nasdaq and also the small caps aren't doing that well. So the Nasdaq represented here on my watch list through the Qs are still underneath the last resistance line, so we haven't topped our last peak here, and I really thought we would get a little green light yesterday, we would get a little backwind, but it didn't quite happen that way. It remains to be seen if the 20-day moving average holds. If not, then the market will tell us. The next one of interest for me is the IVM, so the Russell 2000. The Russell is still looking to recover from this mega correction it got in the last months, over the last months, but at the moment we are still above above all of the moving averages, and with a little luck we may break out of this range, and then we would have an upwards potential, pretty huge actually, starting from here, from 226 with a risk 5 and going all the way to 244. It's also January, the month where generally the small stocks start moving, so thumbs up, and hopefully we get our expected move sooner than later. Then we have the German markets. The German markets are pretty much slipping. They have been slipping since summer. I could just as well say that we are in an downwards trend. You see here the resistance line. We haven't even touched it yet, so I don't think we are going to get any momentum pretty soon in this market, especially if the American markets aren't going to get moving anytime soon. Then next on our watch list, the euro to US dollar, also a sideways move here, sideways trend. As long as we don't break this this trend, I don't think there's much to talk about. We may also see that we are keeping this sideways trend until we reach the resistance line of the trend canal, and then we could just as well go another story down bis 1.7 or 1.8. That could be the next mark. If we manage to break out of this sideways channel, then I think we could see a next resistance at about 1.17 or 1.19, but it remains to be seen. So we are still in a downwards trend, and it doesn't get any much better than that if we have a US dollar portfolio like I do. So the oil also in a sideways trend. It doesn't look too active at the moment, but I think on a short-term basis we may get a little downward momentum. Then gold, I'm not a big fan of gold myself. It always swings here and there, so it's not something that I like to invest in. But there are still a couple of investors who are interested in that. Not us, but you never know. Silver also with a downward momentum on a short-term basis. We've reached all of the lines at the moment. If we break out of this range, then perhaps the next resistance is going to be at 23.5. So the first sector of interest is the financial sector. We've got a pretty huge move yesterday. If this move holds, if this candle is not going to be denied today, then I'll start looking for some setups of the financial sector. And the next one comes from the semiconductor sector. We still haven't got a breakout yet, but it looks really promising. So I think I'm also going to start looking for some for some really good setups for us to be ready if the market goes our way. So our next point of view is the trades we did yesterday. So let's get started. So I added Apple again yesterday. If you can, no, I didn't tell you this. I've set up a post on our blog with Apple. I've thought of Apple as a pretty good setup for in the weekly chart, but in the end I bought it in the daily. I've decided for a swing trade first, and I've bought it somewhere here at 71.2, 71.3 with a stop, but 86. Then I've let it go. I've hoped for a consolidation. I've got it here, and then I've set my new stop at 72.3, and I've got stopped here. Overall, I was stopped in a little plus, and sorry for that. Yesterday, you can see we had an above average volume, so yesterday I bought myself back again. So, yes, at about 73.5, 73.6 with a new stop underneath the last div here. So under this underneath 71.3 or 71.2. It remains to be seen if we can hold this position, but if we do, then I hope the worst is beneath us, and then we would have a pretty nice upside for about 2.5 times our risk. So the next position, yes, is Enva. This is the next position in my portfolio. It's doing pretty good, but I traded this in a weekly chart. So we had the breakout, the pullback. I tried to enter the trade here. It was a little too early. I got stopped, and then I entered it again here. I used this this day as a buy-in signal. I bought myself in at about 37.7, and yes, with a risk of oh, 1.4, 1.5, and at the moment we're doing pretty good. I'm a little sick. My kids managed to infect me, so I've got a little cough. So please excuse me for this. So if you take a look at our weekly chart, as you can see, we still have a lot of upside. So I'm going to go with this trade and I'm going to let it roll. The stop stays stays where it is at 36.2, 36.3. Can't tell you exactly. The next position, also an old position, also a top position in the weekly chart is IRTC. I entered it, I think I entered it here, and now we are consolidating. It doesn't look bad. It doesn't look bad. We have a little plus. The main thing is we have to hold this support level here. If you hold the support level, then everything is okay. If not, then I'm going to stop the trade. My stop is at the moment about here somewhere. So if we aren't going to hold this position, then we are going to be stopped in a little plus. Still good. So the IVMs are still rolling. I also use this day here to go long in the IVMs, in the Russells. Pretty happy with this decision. So we are at the moment very, very wide from our stop and from our risk. This is a very successful trade. And at the moment our stop is about here. I think we're going to hold it, and if not, we're still on the plus side of this trade, so doesn't matter. So our next trade was race. This is a trade I opened yesterday. So race stands for Ferrari, and typical, it rocked. As you can see, we started the day with a little gap. I managed to buy in at 263, I think 263 or 262, and we closed the day nearly at the top, nearly at the high. And with this, we've made a little more than we've risked. If we manage to top this, if we manage to get to 70 to 80, then we can take our first pieces, our first winnings. This is looking pretty good. I also think I'm going to pull the stop here underneath the last bar, seeing how this is a huge bar with huge volume and also a gap. I don't think I have to risk letting this turn out into a failure when we are when we are this ahead. Yes, I also opened SPY yesterday. My motives were pretty good. It didn't work out as expected. So I think I opened it at open. I saw a gap. There was positive momentum in the markets, so I went in. Didn't go exactly as I expected. Yes, for a moment there it looked like we were going to get a breakout in the indexes, in all of the indexes, but then the market decided to go against us. Our risk is not that big. My stop is here by 473.3, I think. So the position is still active, and I'm going to get along with it. And as for our next point, we have the setups. I have a ton of setups for you. We can go through it. So race, you've already seen race. Race is not on the market anymore. This is the something from yesterday. So race is gone. But these are some wonderful setups. So advanced auto parts, AAP. This is a good setup. This is going to be a horizontal breakout if it's going to happen. But a horizontal breakout out of a ascending triangle, it looks pretty awesome. And there is room for some optimism here. If it's going to happen, then we are in standby, but we also need a little momentum in the markets. Just to buy it now, it doesn't make any sense as long as we still have little discrepancies in the tech sector. Apple, you may wonder why I have Apple here. I always keep Apple here because it's such a huge piece. It just reached 3 trillion. So 3 trillion, that's, I don't know, 10% or 5% of the overall S&P. So Apple tells you the direction the market is going to move. Applied materials, I like applied materials. I had a position in it. I got stopped yesterday with this washout. I think I should have bought back in, but I'm waiting. I'll let it be. If you're going to break out of this deal of this level here, then I'm going to buy myself in again. But until then, I'm going to wait, to take my time and wait. It's not worth risking so much money if the markets are going to play along. So AMD, I really think AMD needs a little more time. If you take a look here, we need definitely a bigger consolidation than the one we have at the moment. I believe we are somewhere here, so perhaps in a month or so we can buy AMD again. If you take a careful look at it, this was the last move AMD did. A huge move here, a huge move here, and above the peak twice or thrice the initial size, and that's the same move AMD did here. I bought myself in here, and I think I quit AMD here. Yes, I should have stayed with it a little longer, but I'm still very much happy with my position. Then I'm going to leave it here on a watch list, and perhaps in a month or so it will be go time again. April. Yes, we've been through that. This remains I already have it. So BJ, monster setup, but we keep getting these pullbacks, pullback, then breakout, pullback. Perhaps we manage to break out again and hold it this time around. Perhaps not. I don't know if I'm going to get involved in BJ again, but feel free to take this setup. Then boot. Also pretty good setup. This upward move here was a little intense, but the last three consolidation days, they look pretty healthy to me. If you get a breakout after this level, then I think there is a little momentum there, a little potential, a little more actually. If you take a look at the last breakout, then doesn't look that bad, does it? Where are we? Yes, it doesn't look that bad at all. Doesn't look that bad at all. Then box is something for the weekly chart. I love box. So take a look at this. First contact, second contact, third contact, fourth contact, fifth contact, and so on and so on. And last week we've got ourselves a breakout, but he didn't hold. He didn't hold. I'm curious if we are going to manage a new breakout. If you get a new breakout above 27, then this is a very, very, very interesting position for a position trader. CCXI. So this I love. This I love. But also for a position trader. I think a swing trader can also take a swing at it. But primarily something for a position trader. It just looks awesome here. CTXS. Why are you here? Ah, yes, that's why you're here. That's why you're here. A nice gap and gap above the above all moving averages. And with this gap, we set a new trend and a new general direction. You could have said yesterday was a breakout day, but I don't think so. So we've closed the day underneath this line, and the average volume is not that convincing. But this could be something for today. Yes. This is also on my today's watch list. If it gets above 99, let's say above the peak from yesterday, so above 100, then it's a buy for me. And then I think I will place. I could place a stop here, or I could go really aggro level 100 and place the stop here. This would be this would be a lot safer, but on this, I think on this trade I'm going to put my stop here and go for a little smaller position. Ever? This is the small Titan. This is a small Titan ever, and you'll see here the strategy here is bottom fishing. This was a long downward trend, and at the bottom of the downward trend we have this mega setup. If you're going to break out of it, then there could be some momentum, there could be some moves with a pretty nice potential here. The first stop would be at 22.30, and the next one, then here it is gap 28. So for this much risk, you get a risk of 1.5. You could then get a pretty huge upside ever. That was our watch list. Facebook, yes, Facebook tricked me yesterday. I was convinced Facebook would make a move, and I bought it. I bought Facebook. Where did I bought Facebook? I bought Facebook here. and it was an awesome buy. I would do it again the same moment. So you see here a pretty good consolidation, a, an awesome buy with a very small risk, and at the top of this candle, I already had made my risk, but then all the markets fell and Facebook fell with it. So this I didn't see. I think this would have been a great opportunity to buy Facebook again. Um, if it remains, then I'm going to buy it again. This would have been an awesome outside reversal for me to buy. This I didn't see anymore. Put it here. But the risk was small, so no biggie. Another super setup here, another small titan in the weekly chart. This is something for a position trader. You see here we have an extraordinary consolidation here with 2 weeks sideways, and small volume in our consolidation phase. If you manage to hold this position and then break out over 20, then a monster trade. A monster trade. GME, don't like it. Gopro. Gopro. Oh, it's not the best setup, but it's a setup. Here, this is a nice setup, but I don't like the fact that if if you break out of this triangle, you still reach the next resistance line pretty fast. You would still make perhaps 1.5 your risk, but the resistance line is there, so I'm not that crazy about it. This was also a small titan, but it has its ups and downs and pretty wild moves, so I think I'm going to delete it. Inva is a breakout out of a sideways position. I don't think this is something for me, but if you look closely, every time Inva touched the 50-day moving average, it bounced back up, and now we've touched the 50-day moving average and also our support line, and we have a sideways consolidation. So and we are at the moment at the 50-day moving average and more or less at our support level. So if we are going to break out, then it could also be a pretty nice upward potential. So take a look here, it's the same one here, then you could end up, not that bad. Perhaps I will take it. Then you could take up here. I would place a stop beneath the last candle. So here you would make 3 or 4 to 1. Not that bad, not that bad. This remains on our watch list. IRGC, this is a position I hold. I've already talked to you about it. IVM, MGI, another small titan with a pretty big potential. Consolidation now above the moving averages after a downwards trend, so not really bottom fishing, but pretty nice setup. Marvel, we've got stopped out of this position yesterday. I leave it here on our watch list. It's still a pretty nice setup. I think I've got stopped with half my initial risk, so a little minus, a little deficit there. MU, I wanted to take it, but I didn't expect such a rapid breakout here out of this gap, so I had to pass on it. After it was too late, I think I've seen MU as the price was already above here, around here somewhere, so I passed. So back, and NVIDIA. I bought it, I also had it, bought it here, and it took a beating like everything else yesterday. So PFSI, a nice setup, but also on weekly, just only on weekly. In daily, this is not something for a swing trader. So for a position trader, an ideal setup. I think I will also put this on my watch list, but I will only buy above this little line here. PayPal, not too much momentum there. Down you go, down you go. Oh, this I like, this I like. Small Titan, I like small Titans. So if you didn't know, the January is the month for small Titans. January is the month where you wish to invest in small Titans, in the small stocks, small caps. So QSI, yes, you can see here, this would be a risk, or a little aggressive take would place our stop here with this much upside. So not bad. Not bad at all. Right. This is my special surprise for you. Also small Titan. Also something I will be having if it goes my way. Also top. So a gap, up gap with huge volume, and then we managed to hold our position. So you could say this is an inside candle, inside candle, inside candle, inside candle, or you could just simply call it ascending triangle setup. After a gap, we are above the moving averages, and we also have, most importantly, we have a short float above 20%. That's huge. So if we manage to break out, then we are going to get our first resistance somewhere about here, and yes, and that's pretty much where the last gap is, and the next one here, but tread carefully. So if we manage to break out, there are going to be a lot of investors who are eager to get their money out, and I think we will see a huge swing, and then pretty much a cash out, perhaps somewhere here. It wouldn't surprise me. So red comes on our list here. Rock, another small Titan. I love the small Titans. Spy. I had a little interest in this one, but it fell. It goes away. Tesla. Made a small profit here with Tesla, but yesterday I got stopped here, so no biggie. We just wait and see if we get another consolidation, and by our next breakout above this line, we are in standby, and perhaps we are going to take another shot at it. So this one I didn't see. Shame. What a shame. I've been waiting for this one for a long time, and I didn't see it. Ew. But you can see these are top quality setups. And that's all. So thank you for joining me. I hope you enjoyed our very first daily update, and join us soon for our next episode. The next episode is going to be tomorrow, as the title says. These are daily updates, and pretty soon we are going to have our site online, and then you can enjoy it all. So, bye bye.